Well, on this week's episode of Along the Wolf Trail, we're going to be digging into my 18th century trekking kit and all of the things that I would have on me during a period 18th century trek. Guys, I have this piece of canvas laid out right here, so I'm not throwing all of my stuff down on the sand or in the dirt to get it filthy. But I want to start this video out by saying thank y'all for all of the love and support that you've shown the channel so far. I've had videos rolling out since February, and I really didn't know how they were going to do, and y'all have taken a liking to them, and I really appreciate that. I want to break down the gear, and I'm going to start with my gun that I have right here. This gun that I have with me today is a 58 caliber, and it's a Jim Chambers. This was a Jim Chambers kit, and it was built by another person. I'm not sure exactly who built it, but this is my deer rifle, any big game rifle, and going on an 18th century trek, whether it be just a day trek like I'm portraying today, or whether it be a long hunt trek where you're spending a lot of time in the woods and you're going to be doing a lot of hunting, this would probably be the rifle that I would take on that hunt. But I'm going to get you some close-ups of it so you can see the ins and outs of it. And also in the next video that I do, it's going to be a descriptive detail breakdown of my rifle and my powder horn and shot pouch setups. So now I'm going to show y'all my bedroll and what I have in my bedroll. The bedroll setup that I have on me today is set up for a summertime trek or a summertime day trek. So it's packed light, but the only difference in this, how it's set up today versus like going on a winter's trek, would be the heaviness of blankets that I have in here and maybe a spare coat or vest on the inside. But like I said, it's set up for a summertime day trek, and we're going to dissect that now so y'all can see what I have in here. The tump line that I'm using today is a rawhide tump line. There's all types of different ways to make tump lines, but how I have this one today is just, like I said, it's a rawhide. David McClanahan made it for me. He's an excellent maker. And an excellent historian, so having him make some of the things that I use in my day-to-day stuff is pretty neat. But get this bedroll unrolled so we can show y'all what we're working with. So the first thing that you see right here in my bedroll right off the bat is this London duffel blanket by Rob Stone. Rob Stone makes some unbelievable products, and this is just a blanket that I chose to go with, doing early 18th century stuff. This same London duffel can be seen in the Von Wreck images of the Yuchi warriors. It's super warm, and for it to be super warm, it's super lightweight. So I'll unfold it. And on the next layer of the bedroll, I have just a plain piece of blue stroud cloth. I would have two blankets, one if I needed to make a shelter and one to sleep on or sleep under. Right now in South Alabama, it is scorching hot already, and it's only May. So I probably wouldn't need as many blankets for warmth, but maybe for comfort. So in this bedroll right here, I'm just gonna have a spare loincloth, which is blue stroud as well. I have a spare set of leggings, and this is made out of the same stroud cloth that I have in this in my blanket in my bedroll. Have those. I have a spare set of moccasins. A lot of times on the trail, doing a lot of walking in this buckskin, it will wear holes in your moccasins. Now you can either choose to repair the ones you have or pack an extra set like I have here. I would definitely have some of these in my bedroll at all times. Next thing I have is just an extra shirt in case mine that I have on my body gets wet, anything like that. I always want to have just pretty much a clean set of clothes. This here is probably the most essential thing other than my fire starting kit, but this is green glass and it's full of water. So I'm not knowing how far you're going to be away from any type of water source. I would fill this up whenever I was near a water source and keep it with me, and this would be my source of staying hydrated. This bottle, like I said, is green glass, and this green glass was found all over the South. It was found, its native period is at Fort Mims. A lot of it was found at Fort Mims during the archaeology excavations there. It was found at Horseshoe Bend, and that's all the way up near modern day Auburn. It was found at Fort Toulouse as well, so we know that they had a lot of green glass. And actually at Fort Mims, which is the early 19th century, a bottom of a bottle just like this right here was found, and it had the initial scratched into it, HM, for Hatton Middleton. He was a militia captain there. But so we know these bottles like this were a thing in the 18th century and in the 19th century. So this is how I prefer to keep my water on my treks. The next thing I have in here is a market wallet. In this market wallet, all I have in it is just some plates and it's so loud. Got a wood bowl, just a pewter plate, and some hemp rope. In these market wallets, if I was going on a long trek, I would typically put my food in them. I could put dry food or you know, dried, smoked, aged meat too. But typically I would put corn, squash, whatever I could fit in my market wallet and roll it up in there as well. So now that we've dug into my bedroll set, let's get into what I have on my person. So the first thing on my person that we need to dissect will be my haversack. This haversack is made out of an old coffee bean sack, actually, and it serves the purpose of haversack real well. The things that I have in my haversack are in my haversack and on my immediate person because they're the things that I would possibly need pretty quick, same as the thing is in my shot pouch, versus it being in my bedroll where I'm having to stop and unpack to get whatever I need out. First thing I have in my haversack is just my sewing kit. Really all it is my sewing awl and my needle, and my needle, I have it in just a river cane decorated holding container. I have this tin cup that I keep in my haversack. I can drink out of it, I can cook out of it, I can do whatever I need to out of this tin cup. So if I find some water that needs to be boiled, I can boil it in this. This is just a nice little thing to have. I'll put it over here with my cooking stuff. This is actually an original salt container. It's made out of a cow horn. I'm not sure the time period that it was made, but I wish it could talk, because it could probably tell some pretty neat stories. I just have it full of some seasoning on the trail. Whenever I'm cooking, I like to have some taste to my deer, squirrel, whatever I'm eating. So I'll keep this with me. Next to my water being super important, this right here, like I said a while ago, is it's a necessity and probably the most important thing that I have in my kit. This is my fire starting kit here. I just have it in a little leather drawstring bag. I have 2 tins in here, 2 little tin cases. One that has my flint and steel in it. And one that I keep my char cloth in, if I can ever get it open. This is just my char cloth right here. In a previous video that I've posted on Along the Wolf Trail, you get to see me and Caleb use the flint and steel to start a fire, and everything was wet. The conditions were that day for fire building was horrible, but we managed to get one. Caleb is an expert fire maker, so having him with me in the 18th century would have been clutch. The next thing I have right here in my haversack is my knife and fork set. So I love to eat, and on the trail, if I can find, you know, some squirrel, deer, rabbit, whatever I can find to eat, I'm going to be hunting for it and trying to get a meal out of it. So that's why I have a lot of cooking things. But my knife and fork set, this is actually an original that was found in North Georgia. My mentor actually gave me these, and they're bone handles. This one is actually a deer horn, but this one here is a cow horn handle. But they're super neat. It's cool them being original. It's kind of like my salt horn. Second to the last thing that I have in my haversack. Now this is something that this is not period, I would say, but this is just a little leather container that I keep in my haversack, and it has just a little tin box in it that I keep Advil, Tylenol, and Benadryl. Outside on the treks or even at living history events, you never know whenever you're going to have a headache or start to get sick or run into some poison ivy or poison oak. So having a little bit of modern day equipment in your trekking kit is something that I've learned to keep with me. Last but not least, in this haversack, I just have another leather drawstring case that has my spoons and stuff in it to, if I want to cook some soup or whatever, I've got some spoons. And I like to do a little bit of woodworking. Greyhawk Perkins actually made this spoon here for me. Greyhawk Perkins is, he comes to Fort Toulouse every year during Frontier Days, and he kind of got me into the spoon making. I've got a couple here that I've made, but I have those for eating as well. Just like pretty much everything I got in my haversack is for eating. So now that we've dissected the bedroll and the haversack, let's get into what I have on my person. So immediately on my person, I'll start with my knife I have here. This knife was made by Ken Bush. Ken Bush owned Calumet Trade Goods. I'm not sure if Ken is still in business making contemporary stuff or not, but it's painted with black and red pigment paint, and it's just an English trade knife. It can be used as both a belt knife or a neck knife. It has a strap on here for a neck knife, but I keep this one typically in my belt. The next thing I have on is my leather belt. This one is a wide belt. I have one that's not as wide, but I tend to like this one right here that has a little bit of width to it, to keep my tomahawk in it, store my knife, and it just fits me better. It's really all preference, so just whatever you prefer. But next thing I have on me here is my shot pouch and my powder horn. This shot pouch here I made not too long ago, actually about a week ago. It's made out of brain tan deer, and this powder horn I have is made by Gerald Dukes. Gerald Dukes is a expert horn maker, scrimshaw. He scrimshawed the map of the Savannah River in Savannah, Georgia, and stuff on here. This is one of my favorite sets now, especially the bag since I made it myself. But in the next video, next week's video, we're gonna deep dive into my gun setups that I have and the powder horn and shot bag setup. So I'm not going to dig into this today. The clothes that I have on today is lightweight clothes, especially, you know, like I said, it's May, so it's super hot. So I'm not trying to overheat myself with excess clothes or clothes that I don't need. So my shirt is just a super light, fine linen. It's real long. I like my shirts to be a little bit longer, cover up the tips of my leggings. Like I said, it's super light and it's a really good summertime shirt. The leggings that you can see here, they're just a leather legging. You can have on leather or the stroud cloth like I have here, or a broadcloth type wool. But these are my preference of leggings. I have on buckskin moccasins. These are my preferred shoes. They're comfortable. They're not that hard to make. They're my go-to shoe for the 18th century treks. The hat that I'm wearing today is just a wool fur felt hat. It's old, weathered, and that's why I like it so much. It's got a lot of character to it. It's got the flap pulled up in the back, and the brim kind of curved in the front to keep the sun out of my eyes. And the back side of it, I have a wingbone turkey call. I'm a big turkey hunter in the present world, so I'm sure in the 18th century I would have been a big turkey hunter as well. Last but certainly not least in my trekking kit, I almost completely forgot about it. It was in the back side of my belt. This is just a tomahawk. This is a trade hawk. I have a leather sheath over it because the blade is fairly sharp, and on the trail I don't want it digging into my back. That wouldn't feel too good. But this is my choice of hawk to have. It can be used as a weapon. It can be used to make a shelter. It can be used pretty much as anything you need it to be. I think I've used this tomahawk I've had this tomahawk for 15, 16 years now, so it served me well. Well guys, now that I've broken down my 18th century trekking kit from my bedroll, my shot pouch, and my haversack and the things that I have on me, I think that's going to wrap up this week's video. So in next week's video, I'm going to be doing a complete breakdown of my shot pouch and my guns that I have. It's pretty detailed. Some of it is not so 18th century, and some of it is 18th century. Doing a lot of modern day hunting with my flintlocks. I have some modern equipment that I keep in my shot pouches, so it should be a good video. But I hope y'all enjoyed this week's video of the 18th century trekking kit. I know it's not perfect. I know there's things that I miss out on. I know there's things that I don't have that I need, but for right now, this is what I have, and this is what I have to take on a trek with me. So I appreciate y'all, and I thank y'all for watching this week's episode of Along the Wolf Trail. We'll see y'all next week.